We've all been there, right? You're about to walk into a room, or maybe you're just waiting for that video call to connect for a big HR interview, and suddenly you get that massive spike of anxiety. Sweaty palms, racing heart, you name it. It's totally universal. We all have that creeping fear of getting tripped up by some random trick question. But what if I told you there's actually a way to completely decode what they're asking? Welcome to today's Explainer. We're taking a deep dive into a really comprehensive document covering 25 notorious HR interview questions and answers. And we are turning the whole shebang into a structured, absolutely foolproof playbook. By the time we're done here, you won't just be surviving your interviews, you're going to be driving them.
I mean, think about that for a second. It is almost always the very first thing they ask you. And it's so incredibly open-ended that it honestly feels like a trap. Like, do you talk about where you grew up? Your weekend hobbies? Do you just recite your entire resume from the ground up? This super relatable, anxiety-inducing question is exactly why having a clear framework is so absolutely crucial. And that is exactly what we're going to build today.
So to make this super easy to digest, our playbook is grouped into 5 main buckets. First, mastering the personal questions. Second, navigating conflict and adversity. Third, problem solving and efficiency. Fourth, teamwork and leadership skills. And finally, number 5, closing the interview strong. All right, let's jump right into bucket number 1, mastering the personal questions.
So the absolute best way to tackle Tell Me About Yourself? It actually skips over your personal history entirely. Seriously. Instead, a winning response efficiently highlights, say, 5 years of project management experience, a genuine passion for driving efficiency, and an immediate readiness for process optimization. It is a completely results-driven introduction. Remember, you aren't telling them your life story here. You are delivering an executive summary of the professional value you bring to the table. Now, what about your biggest strengths and weaknesses? You know they're going to ask it. These two are really just two sides of the same coin. Let's say you position adaptability as a strength. You're highlighting how you thrive under pressure and tight deadlines. Conversely, when admitting a weakness, like maybe you struggle to delegate tasks, you're showing real self-awareness. What's brilliant here is how discussing that adaptability naturally complements admitting you struggle to let go of control. It makes you look human, sure, but also highly capable. It's all about making that pivot. A winning candidate transforms a negative reactive trait, like taking on way too much yourself, into a positive, proactive growth narrative. You emphasize that you are actively learning to prioritize tasks and, more importantly, trust your team's strengths. Ultimately, you're telling HR that your so-called flaw is actually leading to a collectively more productive team. Talk about a spin. Moving right along to section 2, navigating conflict and adversity. Okay. I want you to actually picture this scenario in your head. You are at a total roadblock with a coworker over project priorities. Tempers are maybe slightly flared. How do you resolve it while keeping that professional relationship completely intact? Keep that in the back of your mind as we see how our source material expertly navigates this kind of friction. The secret sauce here? Proactive communication. It is a total game changer. When dealing with a colleague disagreement, the solution is initiating a one-on-one discussion to align on shared goals, favoring open, honest dialogue over assumptions. And when dealing with, say, a difficult or strict manager, the solution is adapting to their style by sending proactive progress updates to build trust. In both of those scenarios, the friction isn't solved by hiding or avoiding the person. It's solved by actively increasing the quality and frequency of your communication. But hey, what happens when things go wrong and it's actually your fault? The key takeaway for describe a time you failed is super concrete. Admitting you underestimated stakeholder approval times, which caused a project delay, shows incredible maturity. But the real magic is in the solution. You show that you learned to include buffer time in all your future project schedules. It proves to HR that your failures aren't just mistakes. They are stepping stones to building better systemic processes.
All right, that brings us to section 3, problem solving and efficiency. What's really cool about these approaches is how they turn your everyday tasks into major strategic wins. When they ask how you prioritize when literally everything is urgent, telling them you use an impact versus effort matrix is just absolute music to an HR manager's ears. And when asked about improving a process, don't just say you worked harder. Tell them you automated reporting using Excel macros, cutting time by 60%. That is a massive difference.
Honestly, if you want to blow your interviewer away, steal this exact action-oriented vocabulary. You shouldn't just be doing tasks, you should be utilizing an impact versus effort matrix. You aren't just typing in data, you are utilizing Excel macros and automated reporting. You are cutting time by 60%. You are adding buffer time to schedules. Injecting these specific frameworks into your answers elevates you from being a standard employee to a true strategic asset. So, what do you do when they hit you with the classic, how do you handle a task you've never done before question? Well, first off, don't panic. You just follow this four-step methodology derived straight from our source. Step 1, research best practices and seek advice. Step 2, create a plan. Step 3, execute carefully. And step 4, review the results so you can learn from the process. By outlining a clear methodology, you prove that the unknown doesn't scare you at all. It just triggers your standard operating procedure for learning something new. Next up is Section 4, Teamwork and Leadership Skills. Leadership is really all about how you empower the people around you. Handling diverse teams is best achieved by actively listening to different perspectives to create a genuinely inclusive environment. And this perfectly complements a leadership approach that's defined by empowering people and removing obstacles, rather than micromanaging their every move. Basically, a good leader listens to their team to find out what the roadblocks are, and then clears the path so the team can just run with it. And, a true leader also knows how to take a hit. HR managers absolutely love it when a candidate views constructive criticism not as an attack, but as an opportunity to grow. Instead of getting defensive, a strong candidate listens carefully, asks clarifying questions, and immediately applies the feedback. It completely reframes a potentially negative interaction into a powerful tool to continuously improve communication and leadership skills. And finally, we've made it to Section 5, closing the interview strong. This is it, the highest stakes question of all. Why should we hire you? This is literally your ultimate pitch. A winning response breaks it down perfectly by summarizing technical expertise, leadership experience, and interpersonal skills into one cohesive, powerful package. But the real clincher? It's the promise right at the end. You tell them you'll use these skills to bridge gaps between teams and deliver measurable outcomes efficiently. Wow, that single phrase seals the deal. Of course, they might throw in some tricky closing questions too, but you can totally handle these with grace. If they ask why you want to leave your current job, remain super positive. Say you've learned a great deal, but you're looking for new challenges in strategic development. And if they ask the ultimate pressure tester, what will you do if you don't get this job? You maintain your confidence. You simply state that you'll continue improving your skills while reiterating your firm belief that this specific position is an excellent fit for your ambitions. Forward-looking and completely unshaken. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought inspired straight from our source material's definition of success. It states that success is shared when the entire team thrives. So as you prepare to walk into that room or dial into that call, ask yourself, what will be your defining impact? By using the structural frameworks, the proactive communication, and the strategic vocabulary we've broken down today, you are more than ready to show them exactly what you bring to the table. Thanks so much for joining me, and go crush that interview.